would like to call to order this 1178th regular meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. Today is Thursday, December 18th, 2025, and it is 6 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Butler?
Here.
Trustee Easton?
Here.
Trustee Uno?
Here.
Trustee Wittenberry?
Here.
Trustee Wong?
Here.
Thank you, Madam President. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
I move we adopt the agenda.
Okay. I have a motion from Trustee Wong to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, no opposed. Thank you. All right. So now we will go on to the president's remarks and board member comments. And so I'm going to read through all of the events that we have participated in this year. If I miss something, please excuse me, and hold your comments until your turn to comment later in the agenda. All right, so December 1st, we members of the board attended the RPV holiday party at the Point Vicente Interpretive Center. So I saw some of you there, and I appreciated seeing you there. Then on Tuesday, the 2nd, the RPV City Council meeting held their reorganization, and I presented a certificate to their outgoing president. And they had a really nice video of all of the events that took place in RPV throughout this past year and how they dealt with them. But it was a really well done video, and I appreciated being part of that program. So then on Saturday, December 6th, we attended the VIP reception for the holiday parade and the holiday parade. And I would like to thank Victor for driving me in his car. It was really nice, and we had a lot of comments from the crowd about it. So they were very appreciative of it. And I saw the staff working on the decorations for the float, and that was really exciting. And on Tuesday night of this week, I attended the Rolling Hills Estates City Council meeting, and the library was awarded the Susan Seaman Award, first place for the best. They said that it was the most enthusiastic crowd, and they were just very happy to have us there. And they really appreciated the winter wonderland that you decorated with. And so I shared with them that that was a true joint effort, that I had seen the staff working on those decorations, and we really appreciated receiving this award. And what I will also say about the founder is they said that she was on the library board for 2 years, for 2 terms, and then she went on to become a member of the city council over in Rolling Hills Estates. So it's truly an honor to have received this on behalf of the library. Mm-hmm. And it was an honor. Oh, they talked about the enthusiasm of that was from the library staff, and I know who they were talking about. So I would like to to give a thank you to Ryan for his enthusiasm, because, I heard you. And
thank you.
And I saw the crowd, getting up and being enthusiastic about it. So that was very nice.
It has become a tradition, and the staff let me know they expected me to get the energy up in the crowd. So, of course, when you're rolling past the judges' stand, you really got to make it
Yes.
flash. So that was a fun part of it, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you couldn't attend, maybe you can see some of the video, but it was a nice parade. Okay, let's see what else there is. Oh, and I'm going to get back to the other stuff that's on the agenda.
I'm sorry, President Uno, is it appropriate at this time to tack on to what you were saying?
No.
Okay. All right, let me know when it is.
Because I'm still going through everything.
Okay.
Okay, and then there was an open house on the 12/8 at Rolling Hills. And then on Friday, the 12th, we joined with the PLFF for Holiday After Hours event. So those are some of the events. Then I would like to say that all PVLD branches will be closed on Wednesday, December 24th, and Thursday, December 25th, in observance of the Christmas holiday. All PVLD branches will be closed on Thursday, January 1st, in observance of the New Year holiday. And I know this is occurring after our next meeting, but I just would like to put in that MLK Day, Junior Day, is January 19th. So if people want to start thinking about, when I was working in the library, we thought of it as a day on, so where we volunteered as opposed to a day off. So just to encourage people to think about that. Then the BLT, or the Board of Library Trustees President, will be assigning members of the board to the committee and liaison positions at the January 15th meeting. An email will be sent describing the function and duties of each committee or liaison. Please send an email to the president with your preferences by January 7th. And I will say, I think it's not a liaison anymore, right? It's just committees?
Government.
There's a government liaison.
Oh, okay. We call, all right. And then employee milestone celebration will be held at the January 15th board meeting. Okay, and I did ask for no comments at the end, but if you feel that you want to give a comment.
Oh, I thought you said we had to wait to the end. I just
I'm
wanted
at the
to.
end of the meeting, but
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to reiterate, Ryan, thank you so much for, I have never, ever heard people cheering as loudly for a library, and to be on the float when that was happening, for me, was a huge treat. So I really appreciate it. And it was all thanks to you running along ahead of us and saying, everybody cheer for the library. So thank you so much for doing that. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that. I want to say we often hear a random one person just somewhere in the crowd saying, "Oh, we love the library," when they realize this is the library's float. So a lot of times it's just making everyone aware that, hey, this is the library's float. These are the library trustees in the car. This is what we are. And then they cheer, when they know. So that's
Is there a YouTube or video of this on the
Yeah, on the
website?
city site.
On the city site, okay.
Okay. So now, before I head into the election of officers, I'd just like to say a few words about, this past year. I think that we had some challenges this year, but we also had a number of successes. First off, that we approved a new strategic plan. the successful MOU. And I know, and a big one, or one that I wanted to make sure that I recognized is that we, for the first time, have an official agreement with our Friends group.
I'm only moving back and forth because our one staff member who's in the audience has said it's a little hard to hear, but because I can hear you through our sound system, it seems like
Yes.
the mic is okay. So even though you are audible, it's just a little lower. I'm not sure what the level is.
And
but-
I'm right on top of the
Yes.
microphone, so I can't get any
Well, I
closer
will say
to
for
it.
the other trustees, when you talk, make sure you can hear yourself through the sound system. That certainly helps the audience hear the trustees when they're speaking. But for now, it may be just a computer issue, but we're
Okay.
running fine.
All right. And so there are numerous things that I could say about this past year, but at this point, I'm going to be done with that. And I will take us into the election of the officers for next year. And just a moment, because Tammy sent me a script for the election, so I just want to make sure that that is up to date. And just a moment longer. And so we don't wait any longer. Tammy, can you tell me what the,
Looking for it myself. Go forward again, Zoe.
okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's not coming. Can you tell me just the date that it was sent?
Sure. Wednesday, December 10th.
Okay. All right, okay, here we go. All right, so tonight we'll be electing first the secretary, then the vice president, and then the president for next year. So first, I am going to call for nominations of secretary.
I'd like to nominate trustee Wittenberry.
Okay, we have a nomination for trustee Wittenberry. And I am going to make a statement before, we go through with this. So, we have, trustee Wittenberry is completing the term of a past trustee. And what we have done previously is we have not had someone who has been a trustee for 2 months take on an official elected role. And so it just seems that it's breaking with tradition.
Well, My thought process is that, number one, if we're going to talk about tradition, I don't think that is rigid. But at the same time, though, I do believe that, with the exception of Trustee Wittenberry, all of us have been secretary at least once. And so I don't see any harm in integrating her into the trustee role. And if she decides to go ahead and run for re-election for her own full term, well, she'll be on her glide path towards other officer roles.
Okay. I just wanted to make my concerns heard. That's fine. So we have a motion to nominate Trustee Wittenberry for secretary.
Am I allowed to say something?
Yes.
Okay. I have to say that I somewhat mirror President Uno's concerns, and I had thought about that and have expressed that I was concerned. I haven't been here very long. However, I also understand that there are only 5 of us and 3 officer positions, and so with that, I don't want to be viewed or don't want to shirk responsibility. So I will say that if it is your will that I become secretary, I will accept it.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion for Trustee Wittenberry to be secretary. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so there are no other nominations, so we have the motion that the library trustees hereby elects Trustee Wittenberry to serve as secretary of the Board of Trustees for the board year 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're going to have a roll call.
Trustee Uno?
No.
Trustee Butler?
Yes.
Trustee Easton?
Yes.
Trustee Wittenberry?
Yes.
And Trustee Wong?
Yes.
Okay,
Motion passes 4 to 5,
thank you.
4 to 1.
So Trustee Wittenberry will be the secretary for 2026. Next, we have a nomination for, may I have a nomination for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Secretary Wong to be the next vice president of the board.
Okay, do you accept?
Yes.
All right, so we have a nomination for Secretary Wong to serve as the vice president. May I have a roll call vote?
Trustee Wong?
Yes.
Trustee Uno?
Yes.
Trustee Butler?
Yes.
Trustee Easton?
Yes.
And Trustee Wittenberry?
Yes.
5 to 0 with motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a nomination for president. May I have a nomination for president?
I nominate the president, vice president, Jonathan Butler, to be president.
Okay. So we have, do you accept
Yes.
the nomination? All right. Are there any other nominations for president? Okay. May I have a roll call? Oh, sorry. We have a motion for Trustee Butler to serve as the board president for the Library Board of Trustees for the year 2026. May I have a roll call?
Trustee Wong?
Yes.
Trustee Wittenberry?
Yes.
Trustee Uno?
Yes.
Trustee Easton?
Yes.
And Trustee Butler?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes, Madam President, 5 to 0.
Thank you. So our slate for 2026 is Trustee Wittenberry for secretary, Trustee Wong for vice president, and Trustee Butler for president. And that is all for me.
Excellent. At this point in the agenda, we typically take a very quick 5-minute break just to adjust the seating. So if that is okay with the board as a whole, we'll take a very quick 5-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Well, may I?
Please.
Before we, and again, have not been through this yet.
okay.
So there may be a more appropriate time, but I did want to thank the outgoing president, President Uno, for her service. I hope this is a good time to do that. Thank her very much for her service and for bringing very important issues before the board, and I trust that she'll continue to do that in her role as trustee, and to just thank her for her service.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll recess for 5 minutes. Be right back.
Where am I moving?
Well, I
probably
wasn't
should
sure
go
about
over,
Jonathan.
Okay, I got to go to
And then
workshop.
Beth should come over
You had said you
here.
would let me know when you heard that this
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. We've concluded the election of officers, number 6 on tonight's agenda. And as we continue, I just wanted I know Secretary Wittenberry has already made comments, but I wanted to thank outgoing President Uno for your leadership over the past year. It has flown by, and we've done a lot together, but thank you so much for your service and your willingness to serve as president. And I wanted to invite anyone else on the board who wanted to share any thoughts or comments on the outgoing president or thoughts on tonight's election of officers.
Ditto.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah, so now I am serving as the president of the board, and I just want to express my gratitude to my board colleagues. I've been through this a few times since the fall of 2022, but it is going to require some adjustment, and so I appreciate everyone's patience and help as I get through this. I'm really looking forward to this year ahead as we work together to really guide and lead this special district, this agency that serves so many people in these communities that we all love and cherish and call home. And so I just want to express my gratitude again, and also thank Director Addington and your entire staff for all of your efforts to make our dreams come true as trustees, to execute all the things that make this library district such a wonderful entity and an important part of our community. Moving on to number 7. Executive Assistant Bender, are there any communications or comments from the public this evening?
No, sir, there is not.
Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. Can I have a motion to approve the items and recommended actions in the consent calendar as presented?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
We have a motion from Trustee Easton. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. There are no items removed from the consent calendar to be considered, so advancing to number 10, upcoming Board of Library Trustees conferences and events, and I'll turn the time over to Director Addington.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point in time, I just want to remind the board of a board budget workshop that we will be holding on Thursday, January 22nd, here at the Peninsula Center Library in the Purcell Room. Finance Manager Lou will be on hand, as well as the facilities manager, myself, and the deputy director to go over the first reading of the budget. So we welcome you there, and we're looking forward to that. At this point in time, I have no other events to highlight.
Thank you. At this point, we will receive an update from the Build team, Young Readers Manager Henry, as well as Young Readers Librarian Amy Buchwald. Time is now yours.
There she is.
Yes, it is on.
So thank you for inviting Amy and me as Build representatives to come and tell you about what Build is up to. I'm Laura Henry. I'm the Young Readers Manager, and I'm also the Build co-chair, and I'm here with Amy Buchwald, who is my co-chair as well. And we wanted to start quickly by talking about what Build is. We are the diversity and equity team at PVLD. We have 11 members. Any PVLD staff member can join Build, and we have a really great representation across our library. We have people who are part-time, people who are full-time. We have someone from every branch, including the annex, and we have someone from administration. So they bring a wealth of experience and great ideas to every meeting. We have, we meet quarterly, and I always think it's nice to talk about what BUILD literally stands for. And it stands for bridging, understanding, sometimes I have to check my notes here, informing, leading, and developing. And this is what we do in our meetings. We are focusing on, now I have to start reading, supporting and raising the already equitable, diverse, and inclusive environment of PVLD. And we are doing this for our patrons, for our staff, and for the community of all races, ethnicities, gender, sexual orientation, ability, and religion. So we basically do this by increasing our own knowledge, sharing our knowledge with staff, and working on projects like the Books for Kids program. So what are we doing right now? Amy's going to tell you a little bit about that.
So some of the stuff that we're doing right now, we just started implementing, or we're going to start implementing free menstrual products in the bathrooms at all of the at PC, at Miralest, and Malaga Cove. And we are using part of the build funds for that as well to help that along. We also do a newsletter. We do one bi-monthly, and it goes out to all the staff. It covers Heritage Months, acceptance and observation dates and holidays, important vocabulary. It has book recommendations for whichever month it's covering. And we also accept submissions from staff if they want to share stuff about their heritage or their traditions, so we can get to know the staff a little bit better. Laura, if you want to talk about the book clubs.
One thing that we did last year is we held community conversations, and we also surveyed the staff. And one thing that came through very clearly is they would like a book club based on equity and inclusion. And so we're bringing that back. We had done it for a while, so we're excited for that opportunity for people to share their experiences and their thoughts on these topics. We also want to assist with developing some training. So right now we're gathering information on experts or webinars who can help train our staff. Each year we're going to focus on a different aspect of our goals, and this year we're focusing on service to people with disabilities. And that is our own staff, people who come to the library, and our community members in general. So we're sort of in the research process of finding the best way to do the training, which we anticipate will take place in the next fiscal year.
We also do onboarding for all of our new staff. So the Build co-chairs are responsible for onboarding the new employees at PVLD. And this mostly covers the history and the purpose of Build, why what we do is important, and answering any questions that they have. And we also have the Build webpage. Our mission statement is on there. It also has sections for recommendations for books, movies, TV shows, and it has different resources. And it has a Celebrate Our Story section, mostly for each. So it'll have like one for Black History Month, one for Disability Pride Month, and on and on. There's like a section for each of those things as well. And that's kind of Build in a nutshell.
I think one of the things, the build originally came out of a grant that came from the California State Library called Cultivating Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. And a small group of PVLD staff went to a training session and then brought this back. And it really does focus around staff. But I think one of the things that we've kind of realized over the years is that your staff has to have a shared vocabulary. They have to have a shared knowledge base. They have to be familiar with terminology, or else you find yourself in a really difficult situation trying to put forward initiatives and get people on board, to be quite honest. So one of the things that I personally really enjoy about Build, and Trustee Wittenberry, you may not, this may have been something that we overlooked, and if so, I apologize, but you all can join the newsletter that gets sent out. And one of the things that it does is it starts conversation among staff. We talk about the Build newsletter and what might be in it, what some of those terms are. I know I personally have had, that water cooler conversation where somebody will bring up something that they just didn't know or didn't realize. And that ends up influencing then programming that we do and displays that we do, because it's topics that we're familiar with and topics that we think about. And it's through the build team that we all get that knowledge. Some of us have been to a lot of webinars and whatnot, but many of us haven't. And so it tries to kind of level the field when it comes to knowledge about certain topics. And I don't think they gave themselves quite enough credit for the free menstrual pads and feminine hygiene products is something that we've been actually working on for some time. We have feminine hygiene product dispensers in the women's rooms, in all the bathrooms, but they are at a cost. And I'm sure any of you who've really listened to the news, making them free of charge is something that a lot of libraries are looking at, a lot of organizations and companies are looking at. And at the annex, they've actually been doing that. They have 2 gender-neutral bathrooms, and there are free pads and tampons in both of them, and there's been absolutely no issue. And the annex absolutely gets gets all genders at the annex, and there's just been no issue from the kids about having those in there. And so it's an initiative that they've been looking to expand. We do have to buy new machines because we have to buy machines that don't take any kind of quarter or any kind of coin. So they're working with facilities manager Gutierrez on buying those machines. They're not cheap, having them installed and deciding where and when. And then it's something that we'll, be keeping an eye on as far as how much it gets used and in what manner. But I know Amy went pretty quick over that, but it's actually something that they've been working on for a while, and we've had a lot of conversations about how to start this program and how to implement it at all of our branches. So it's those kinds of things that come out of these conversations and come out of the education that Build brings to the staff. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Thank you.
So I had asked that you all come to the meeting tonight to share with us. And so when I was elected in 2020, things looked very different. And so what my question was going to be was, how have things changed over the years? But I was happy to hear that you're bringing back the diversity book club because that was one of the things that, that there was a lot about, and then it just kind of went away, and I was curious about, continuing that because I think it was useful. I think it is useful for the community to read about others. And so I'm happy to hear that portion is coming back. Are there other elements of, the earlier years that you are considering bringing back?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. But if it's sort of looking back over the years, some things that we have done, I think we've increased the number of programs that are cultural celebrations, and we have made it part of our programming plans to include, or even to have somebody who is a member of that community take the lead role in planning. And you may have noticed in Young Readers, we recently had the mooncake celebration where a local community member took the lead role in that. It was part of what she and her family and her school do. So that's something that I think we've seen an increase since 2020 when we started this initiative. Another thing that we have done both in Young Readers and adult is to really evaluate our collections and see if we have gaps so we are not missing important books for our diverse population. And that has been pretty successful. It's an ongoing process that will never end, but we made a specific point doing that last year. And I think you would see an improvement in our collection that way. I don't know if that's what you had in mind, but those two come to my mind.
I was just seeking to understand what you all thought you were doing and how it was going. So thank you.
Director Addington?
Mm-hmm.
So as you were mentioning, originally It was a program that was rolled out by the state. We had people go to the training, brought it back. The question I have is that does the state partner, whatever, do they have continual follow-up trainings for updates? or-
Specifically related to this grant, no.
Okay.
Do they have trainings in general about inclusion and diversity? Yes, not formalized, but there's always some kind of webinar or something out there that I think one of the things that the newsletter really highlights is there's something called California Library Learns, it's CALL, and they have webinars all the time, and the newsletter will often highlight upcoming CALL webinars, upcoming California State Library webinars, maybe something that, a TED Talk that somebody found or saw. But as a formal follow-up to the grant that kickstarted this, no, there's no additional.
Yeah, because the thought that I have is that, number one, fortunately, we have a relatively low turnover amongst our staff. But, as people who are not really involved in the build, maybe there are webinars, trainings, whatever, closer to the original so
Right.
that they could basically see where the fountainhead was.
Right.
The second thing is that, as our staff continues with the build process, one of the things is that we are a little bit of a hothouse amongst ourselves out here in Palos Verdes, and it's valuable for them if they go have additional training to have that cross-fertilization with different organizations, different experiences. And also, there's that little thing of level set or resetting where, again, if we're basically off doing our own little thing, we might start to veer off from what the main line is doing out in the greater world. So sometimes those follow-up trainings kind of bring us back to,
Right.
a level set. So again, I would encourage that if we do have access to those, make sure that we have sufficient budget and we allow our people to participate.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
To that end, I will say when staff attend something like CLA, they had several really good programs around diversity and equity. And so there are opportunities for staff to get professional development from other libraries so that they are hearing about what's happening in library world. And I know that librarians, at those conferences are engaging in the programming and bringing what they're hearing back to their workplaces.
Absolutely.
Because my colleagues did it all the time.
Thank you for your report. I have a quick question. You mentioned that you're going to be focusing again on the diversity months. And I know the Friends group also participates. How do you coordinate your efforts? I know there's sometimes confusion in the community of what is a library program versus a Friends program, and I'm wondering how you coordinate that.
If I may start that answer, you're absolutely correct. There's definitely been a confusion between what is a foundation event and what is a library event. And one of the things that has happened in this fiscal year is that the Friends have pulled their funding back from programming and focused more towards services and capital projects. So we've been able in this last year to really market and acknowledge that the foundation celebrating our similarities events are foundation events. They are not cross-promoted, really. They're not. There's not dual logos. We really, really acknowledge that that is a foundation event. Conversely, our own programs, if we have like Laura mentioned, the mooncake program, or we have our Happy Noon Year program coming up. Any of those events that we do, they are solely marketed as library events. So logoing and marketing and promoting. It does help to differentiate between a foundation event and a library event. In all transparency, there is very little collaboration on specifically the monthly Celebrating Our Similarity events. That is an event that the foundation has really embraced as being their own. They engage their own people, they engage their own performers. There really is no coordination with the library as far as whether they're highlighting a specific cultural event and that we are not, or if we just happen to both be doing the same thing. Sometimes they'll do something that isn't necessarily a cultural month. Like, I don't believe there's a French Heritage Month, and yet they did, in fact, do a French Heritage program. I think they're trying to reach out in just different ways. So we encourage people to attend both, to be quite honest. We know where we come from with ours, and I know that they're doing theirs in order to engage with a different population maybe, or the same population but on a different level because they're a different organization. And we encourage people to go to those. I think those celebrating the similarities are very well attended. People really enjoy that. They love the cultural aspect of those monthly programs. And ours kind of come in a different venue. You know, we focus ours specifically to kids, sometimes specifically to adults. We have different crafting programs that might highlight some element of, you know, Asian Pacific American Islander Month, where there's an adult class and a kids class. And the librarians are very intentional about rolling into their story times books that have to do with that month or whatnot. So it's not just a one-off program, it's kind of an inclusion in all programming that month. But those are ways we try to differentiate between, you know, our programs and the foundation's programs. But to be quite honest, there is very little actual collaboration between the two. They stand on different pedestals. So I don't know if you have more to add to that, but.
That's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and and I know it can be a little challenging, but I do think that, especially with the recent logo and the branding, it has become more apparent what are our foundation programs and then what are library programs.
And with the change of name, I mean, I just from default,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
friends, but I
100%.
mean, going forward, it's appropriate to call them the foundation.
It is, and it's
In
my
reference-
understanding
yeah.
that they would prefer that.
Okay.
So I personally am trying very, very hard to say foundation.
Foundation.
They are a foundation. I think they want to establish themselves as being known as the foundation.
Okay.
So I completely understand. I also, from years and years, automatically say the Friends about a lot of things, but I will make the effort and really be intentional about that.
Is that just for our own internal jargon?
No, I believe even out in the public and to the community, they are the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation. And it is my understanding that they would prefer to be called the foundation.
Well, I guess you have the PV Education Foundation,
Correct.
so,
They're the
They're the-
PDF.
And we're off topic now.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I just want to know.
Any other comments or questions for on
Yes,
Bill?
I just wanted to applaud what you're doing and look forward to you expanding the programs. I also was unclear, I think you said you were bringing back a book club around inclusion. I was wondering if you were thinking about showing movies, and if you are, I wanted to make you aware of a series of documentary movies called The Shame of Chicago, Shame of the Nation, about redlining and blockbusting in Chicago, which is very informative to everyone. And along with that, for the book club to maybe consider The Color of Law, which has, you know, addresses the same topic. And I also wanted to thank you for making the menstrual products free of charge. that is a big deal these days, and especially for some who frankly have to choose between eating and going out in public during certain times of the month. It's a real problem. So I really do appreciate those efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think the book club is very flexible, so we'll definitely pass that recommendation on.
I do like the idea of movies. That's a great idea.
I do have a question about the book club. So how often are you planning to hold the book club?
This is a very new,
Yeah.
we just, like, last week decided to bring it back. So we're still going over some of the details.
Yeah, we have 2 Build members who, and it doesn't happen to be either of us, but they're going to plan it. And so I don't know how frequently we're having that. The first one faded away because people did not come. So now we're hearing they want it. Let's do it.
Well, and it was during the pandemic, because I did attend some of those, and it was during the pandemic, and it was different times.
Yeah.
So,
Very true.
Thank you, Mara and Amy, for making time to be with us this evening.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Director Addington on the monthly report.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In your packet, you have a copy of my November report. There's just a few things I'll highlight, and then I do have some comments to make that are not specifically in my report. First of all, I just wanted to call out that we kind of kicked off middle of the month with the Community Art Show, Awards Show, and Reception. This was a wonderful, wonderful event, and we're very happy to have held it. We had almost 190 pieces, and we gave out awards, and as per usual, it was really well attended and had a wonderful time. Kudos to Adult Services Assistant Manager Evan Coates and Adult Librarian Crystal Costa for her leadership, for both of their leadership on that project. It was really wonderful. I know that it was also highlighted at one point by President Butler that the Marilest Library's K-pop Demon Hunters event was really amazing. So that was a really wonderful one. We also hosted our annual bookmark contest, which is always a big fave. So some really wonderful things going on. Please feel free to ask any questions about my report. But the last thing I'll say on the written report is I always like to acknowledge the staff Pay It Forward Award winner, and the November award winner was Paul Fay, who works in our finance department. Absolutely fabulous employee. We're very, very thrilled and happy to have her with us. But wonderful things said to her about from branch manager Eve Wittenmeyer. So not actually in my report, but a little more specific to just work that I do on a monthly and daily basis and some highlights for the board. I did send an email, I think a couple weeks ago, with the agenda and events calendar, the tentative calendar for 2026. Please take a look at that and just get back to me if you do have any questions. That is not a comprehensive list of every single thing we do, but it does give you some pre-planning opportunities for upcoming events or upcoming programs that might be happening in the community. I also wanted to say that in 2026, the PV Reads Community Read is a book entitled Beneath a Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. We did have extra copies, so all the trustees did receive a copy of that. Please feel free to re-gift it if you want, but it is a good book, so if you want to read it, it's there for you. The author event with Mr. Sullivan will be on March 13th here at the Peninsula Center Library. In the same vein of book clubs, there is a One Coast, One Book community read event in 2026 that's being hosted. It's being organized by the LA County Library, and they're expanding it to all libraries up and down the coasts of, well, all libraries up from California, Oregon, and Washington. The book this year is George Takei's They Called Us the Enemy. This is a graphic novel, which is the first time I think many libraries have chosen a graphic novel. And we will be participating in this One Coast, One Book community read event. It goes from March to May of 2026, so we're still in the planning processes. I think one of the things that LA County made a point of doing is making it very easy to participate. And how you participate is up to the system. You can do a lot, or you can do a very little. And we're hoping to do somewhere in the middle. We do think that George Takei's book will resonate with members of the community. I'm personally also very excited that it's a graphic novel. The PV Library has never chosen a graphic novel to highlight in the past, so I'm really excited about that. The event itself does sort of culminate with a visit from George Takei himself. He will be at the Long Beach Public Library on May 31st, but being in the area, they have asked libraries to put forward their name if Mr. Takei should find himself with a little extra time, and we certainly put our name forward as a potential location should he want to. I do believe that he has some connections to the PV area, so, you know, if we're fortunate, maybe we'll be able to host an actual author visit, and we will certainly keep everybody informed on that.
And just a quick point, I have attended his in-person author readings, and he is fabulous.
Good.
And yeah, it's incredible, so.
Yeah, the Long Beach Public Library event, of course, will be a lovely one, but we're certainly fingers crossed that maybe we'll have an opportunity to host him as well, so.
And I'm sorry, what was that date again?
The Long Beach Public Library is on May 31st from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Just as a quick update on the Deep Valley entry, and we will have Facilities Manager Gutierrez here in January to give us a further update, but we have signed the contract for that, which is something that we've been kind of waiting for as we get closer. So we have new images that do not include furniture. We wanted to be very intentional about that because the furniture is still in the determination mode. We are working with the foundation who will be funding the furniture purchase. So we have new images now without furniture, and we're starting to promote. The plan now is to have construction start in late January. So we're starting to tell the community that it's at least coming so that they understand and know. I'll also be reaching out in January to hopefully get a newspaper article about the upgrades and enhancements to the entryway. And again, Facilities Manager Gutierrez will be here in January to give us more. We are also working with the foundation on setting policies and procedures for how the brick engraving fundraiser might work. It is not something that we have to implement before we start construction, and certainly not even before we finish construction. But it is a fundraising opportunity that they're very excited about. So we're working with the foundation on that, and we're working with them on the purchase of whatever furniture is going to go out onto the deck. We think about that more, I kind of jokingly, and I've said this before, that you have to think about it as a really wonderful, beautiful park area. It's not South Coast Plaza, and that's not the kind of furniture we're looking for. We're looking for something that's going to be durable and weatherproofing, so we're working on that. We're working on our mid-year budget adjustments right now in preparation for the board workshop in January. We're making some adjustments that we'll be bringing to the board. Library managers are working on their own individual library accounts, working closely with Finance Manager Lou, so that when we go into the board workshop, we'll be able to give you as much information as we can. We also have a very committed committee working on the plans for our 100-year celebration. So the PV Library District, as I'm sure the board is aware, will be 100 years old in 2028, and the Malaga Cole Library itself, the physical building, is 100 years old in 2030. So we are already in the planning process of kind of a year-long celebration for that. We'll be looking at all the different aspects that that celebration needs, what needs to be paid for, and ultimately in conversation with the foundation about whether or not there's some funding opportunities there, some perhaps capital campaign opportunities for them, other ways that they can be involved in that 100 years. We're also looking for ways, really tangible ones, to recognize Romaine Martin, somebody who has not been specifically recognized by the district before, and yet she really was a pioneering community leader and the driving force in founding this library district. So we're looking at a way to kind of just, in whether it's a plaque or a sculpture or some way to tangibly recognize her. Also, just want to say very quickly that the Link Plus program that the Circulation Department has been working on is going very, very well, and we're looking to have a start date of that in January 5. So that's going to be a wonderful service for our community. And something very impactful to the library, in 2026, we will be a voting site. So what that means is this room, the room we're in right now, will actually be reserved for several weeks in May and early June, and then again in October to early November. With the voting machines, there's a very detailed procedure of checking out the site, bringing in the machines, setting them up, having them registered, checked, early voting, regular voting, taking the machines down, all of that. So there's a period of several weeks where this room will be reserved. It has impacted some of our own events, including our own board meeting, which in May, we will be moving to the Malaga Cove Library. We typically do one board meeting at the branches each year because of the polling station and because of the availability at Miralest. The May meeting, and we will have this in a proper memo and whatnot at the January meeting, but the May meeting will be at Malaga Cove because this room will be booked. And we have talked to the community events that typically have like a monthly event that are impacted by this, and we've either accommodated them or moved them, or they've been able to go dark for a month, and we've been able to do that.
Can I ask what made us a site this time?
We have been in the past. I think more than anything, it was our willingness.
Okay.
They've reached out to us before, and we've said no. And this last year, in conversation with the facilities manager, we kind of thought it was an important civic duty that we thought we could do, and we're going to give it another try. It's been a very, very long time since the Palos Verdes Library District has been an actual voting site, and I think it was only ever at maybe Malaga Cove Library. So we're going to see. I mean, it is a little disruptive. There's no doubt about that, but I think we felt like it was an important civic duty, and we're going to see how it goes this year. Just also wanted to call out that myself, Executive Assistant Bender, and Deputy Director Roy all watched the SB 707 webinar on Brown Act updates and changes. So talking about teleconferencing rules, social media restrictions, and some of the new statutes that come into that. So we'll be kind of putting those in practice as much as we can. And CSDA, the California Special Districts Association, is working on like an update. You know, they're working on their updated trustee manual. They're working on kind of an update letter of what all the changes are, and when we get those things, so we're not doing double duty or reinventing the wheel. We're going to wait for them to come out with the official updates, and then we'll be sharing that with all of the trustees.
I'll just say, Director Addington, that I did sign up for that webinar. As you know, I couldn't attend at the time it was given. I have not received an email saying
They haven't
there's a
sent
link.
anything.
So there is no link to watch it afterwards?
They said that they would try to get it out faster than they normally do, but they probably,
Didn't.
So
yeah.
you think it's still coming, though?
Oh, yeah, it's still
Oh,
coming.
good,
Yeah,
okay.
it
I didn't know
probably
if they
will
just
be.
weren't going to do it at all. And
No,
then I
it'll come.
also wanted to just, since you brought up the voting here, I thought maybe it would be good to run that by the Build Committee and have them do some programming around voting rights in
certainly
conjunction
bring it up to
with
them, yeah.
having the voting here at the library.
Great, thank you. And that's all I have this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Peninsula Library Friends Foundation Liaison Report from both Director Addington and Deputy Director Roy.
Yeah, I'll get us started there. As a reminder, the portion of the meeting that Director Addington and I attend, usually just entails the library director's report from Director Addington and the executive director of the foundation, Merlin David's report, and their committees give reports, but there's usually only a couple of those, their book sale committee and their gift shop committee. So it's generally a brief part of the meeting, and it's very standard, and you hear a lot about what you hear from Director Addington in our meeting, she says in their meeting, and also if you get the foundation's newsletter, that's a lot of what Executive Director Merlin David goes over in the meeting as well. The one thing that we did want to mention was that it was the last meeting for Nancy Marr, who is stepping down from her role on the board, and she was also the secretary of the board, so we don't know who the next secretary will be. But Nancy Marr has been a long-time supporter of the library, both on the Friends and now the Foundation, and as a former Board of Library trustee. So there was a little going away reception for her from the Friends. So we did want to note that was her last meeting. And also that the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation held their first after-hours mixer as the Friends Foundation in their new branding. That was last Friday, December 12th, and it was in the library after we had closed, and it was very well received, well attended. I know a lot of the board members here were able to attend as well, and it was for donors to get together and meet and greet, enjoy some wine. There was wine tasting, some light refreshments, and some nice jazz music, and I think it was very well received by all who attended. So I know Director Addington has been working with the president of the foundation, Susan Paul, and she has some additional comments as well.
Yeah, just wanted to follow up that in addition to the actual meeting itself, I wanted to let you know about ongoing conversations that I have had with the Friends. So I did meet with their president, Susan Paul, and their executive director, Merlin David, and we just discussed some upcoming potential fundraising opportunities, like how could they perhaps be involved in the One Coast, One Book event, where were we on the Deep Valley entry project, again, as I mentioned, starting the ad hoc backup for the furniture, talking about the bricks. I mean, if you think about it, the bricks are tiny little mini namings. So we want to make sure that we have a policy so that we do not have to come back to the board every single time a brick gets engraved, but a nice policy that just includes, you know, how much would a brick cost, how much could you put on it, you know, do you get to choose where you want it, all that kind of stuff. And ultimately come up with something that would come to the board would approve, and then the foundation could implement. And then we looked at the 100-year anniversary events and what could be there. We want to do some roof work at Malaga Cove. It's in our budget, and they've tentatively been talking about funding that project. Maybe some upgrades to landscaping, looking at some gallery restorations. So the foundation really is embracing tangible fundraising opportunities, things that either might lend itself to a naming opportunity or is something that a donor could actually pick out and say, I would like to fund that. So we're kind of working together to go over those things. And it was a very productive conversation. And that's all we have on that.
Great. Any other comments or questions on that? Community Relations Committee report. I would just briefly kind of echo what Trustee Uno was referring to earlier, a very, very busy and exciting holiday season on the peninsula. From all the events mentioned earlier to tree lightings and other things. It's been a wonderful few weeks of getting together with members of the community. I would also like to just quickly mention 3 of the 4 cities on the peninsula have new mayors. They've reorganized this within the last few weeks. Mayor Seo in Rancho Palos Verdes, Mayor Kemps in Palos Verdes Estates, and Mayor Deeringer in Rolling Hills. Mayor Stigura remains mayor until next month when Rolling Hills Estates will reorganize, as well as the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. President Dean is the new president there. They've just also reorganized. And that's all I have for Community Relations report. Now on to Government Relations Liaison report. Trustee Easton, if you'd like.
Yes, Director Addington already mentioned SB 707 going into effect in January of 2026. It was passed in 2024, but it's going into effect next month. And you may have all heard this if you're following national news and ALA news, but there will be a reinstatement of all federal IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services grants to libraries. So that's fantastic news. And that was effective, I believe, immediately. So it's all been reinstated. And that's all the news I have.
Thank you. And now a discussion on items for future agendas.
Thank you. So we do have a few standards that appear in our January agenda, which is any investment policy updates, if we have any, and typically the board meeting locations. I may pull that out to have its own agenda item, just so we can discuss that a little bit further. But we work on those board meeting locations with the branch manager to ensure that they fit with the staff schedule and the community schedule at the branches as well. As was mentioned earlier, committee assignments will be made in January. And we also acknowledge our employee service milestones. It's typically one of the first things we do on the agenda. This is when the staff are invited to come bring their family and friends, and they're acknowledged by their managers in public with the board for service milestones. We only have 8 employees to recognize in January, so I know that some of you have been around when we've had 15 or 16, but there will be 8 employees, so that'll be a lovely event. We are also inviting the foundation president, Susan Paul, to give an annual report, and that will be in January. And then, as was mentioned also before, we will have our budget workshop, while not at the board meeting that month, so there's an opportunity to do work on the budget. And then staff reports and regular community and government reports. So that's where we are tentatively right now. Apologies, we will also have an update on the entryway.
Quick question.
Yes.
Did we ever come up with a date for the workshop, budget workshop?
The budget workshop, we did.
January
And
22nd.
Okay,
there you go.
all right, because I was going to plan some things around it, so.
Okay, perfect. And that's all.
Any other questions or comments on upcoming agenda items?
I had a question about, I believe it was hoopla, and I asked at the last meeting, and then, so I guess it'll be important for the budget meeting.
Actually,
Maybe.
that's in January too.
Yeah,
I
so
apologize.
if you're talking about, we did have a little bit of a discussion in the last meeting about our library card overarching procedures and how IDs are verified, how that affects usage.
Well, no, that
Okay,
was not.
That was,
the-
that was a different question.
Well, so it was the fact that, I had gotten a notice from a library that they were cutting the numbers of
Yes.
access.
So this relates to that in a way, in that we do see rising costs and rising numbers
Right.
with databases like Hoopla, but we're also in conjunction with that looking at our.
Yeah, and so I don't need a update on it now, but just if we could get a more comprehensive update on what the changes are going to be.
So we may even have some slight adjustments to our policy with a full memo, and we're hoping to have that in the next board meeting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. And now can I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I move we adjourn.
We have a motion from Vice President Wong. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous, we're adjourned.